Hey church, so it's very much a unprecedented and uncharted territory, not just for us, but pretty much for most businesses and organisations around many countries of the world. So it's by no means unique to us. But as a Church of Jesus Christ, we have a unique response. So we just wanted to outline some of the things that we're sort of calling our guiding principles for this season, so that the practical decisions that we have made and will make in the coming days, weeks, and months, depending on how long this carries on for, will be the backdrop of it will be guided by principles that we feel really peaceful with and happy with. So we're just going to go through them with you and maybe look at some of the immediate obvious implications. So number one is that we are going to follow the government guidelines. That there is expertise, that is medical expertise, that is that the government is consulting with, that we respect and honour as part of God's common grace to us. And so in that sense, we are looking to track closely with the briefings that come from the government and adjust and adapt our practice accordingly. And so the latest thing, which is obviously a bit of a game-changing moment on Monday evening, was the update concerning the government's new guidelines, where they are advising people not to meet up socially, to avoid places like theatres, clubs, bars, etc., where you're going to be around lots of people. And so we want to really respect that, honour that. And so our decision that we're going to make, which we're going to unpack a little bit as we go through, is that really what we are looking to do in this season is not actively encourage the physical meeting up of revers among themselves. It's not to say that we are discouraging it, okay? But we wouldn't feel comfortable encouraging it, because how we respond to these things, as long as all of us are in a spirit of faith and peace, and we'll talk about that in a minute, nevertheless, our conscience allows for different things for different ones of us. Some of us feel very relaxed. Others of us are just sort of either temperamentally or for whatever reason that don't feel as relaxed. Still in peace, still trusting God, but just thinking, no, I'm not. I wouldn't be comfortable with that kind of interaction. So, I think our response is that we're saying, look, you have the freedom if people want to meet up as normal for things like running partners, hanging out, fellowship, absolutely fine. But what we are saying is we're not going to run a Sunday meeting. We're not going to run gospel communities, because that puts pressure on the people that are leading those things to have to gather, whereas their conscience in this season may not feel it's right. So so that's how we are looking to respond to the government's guidelines there. The second thing is we're also looking to honour those that we partner with. So we partner with numbers of other organisations, CAP, the Trussell Trust, with Food Bank. We partner with Sliced Events at the Irish Centre. And so we're obviously looking to have a close eye on what they're saying and make sure that we look to honour that and partner with that. And so we're working closely with CAP and the Trussell Trust to make sure that the way we are functioning is honouring them, and also honouring what we feel God's put in our hearts. And some CAP's come through some very strong guidelines, actively discouraging face-to-face contact with clients. So we're looking to find ways of supporting clients in different ways, but honouring those that we partner with. Numbers of food banks are closing. We are not closing, but we will be adjusting the way that we distribute food and looking to be creative and ingenious in that way, so that we can continue to feed the hungry. The third thing is that we are going to look to maximise on technology in order not to give up meeting together. the biblical injunction is don't give up meeting together, and we found that we can have meaningful fellowship, conversation, and prayer online, and we thank God for that. What an amazing provision! That wouldn't have been the case 20 or so years ago. Where in terms of the ease and the access and the usability. So we're very thankful to God for that, and so we will be looking to, we've had all of our elders meetings and staff meetings and various meetings so far today online, and it's not the same, but it's not bad, and so we're grateful for that. So we're really going to look to maximise opportunities in that way. We will look to develop a weekly rhythm where we can engage with various input and interaction. So we want to make sure that input is coming through from us to you, that you're getting good teaching and other things to meditate upon, but also that there's also within that rhythm interaction opportunity to meet with running partners and other smaller situations where it can be a bit more interactive rather than simply just receiving. So we're working on that, and we'll keep you posted as we develop that. Obviously, fourthly, we're wanting to be in the posture of what is God doing here, and remain discerning, remain totally confident in the sovereignty of God, that there's nothing new under the sun. Although this is new and unprecedented for us, these things have happened throughout the planet. Time and time again. It's not brand new. God is sovereign. Jesus is on the throne. But discernment is needed. Lord, what are you doing here? And historically, the church has always thrived under adversity. So difficult seasons have actually very often resulted in the church flourishing and growing and advancing in extraordinary ways that are not just surprising but counter to what you think would happen. So we're really wanting to embrace this season, yes, with compassion, and we'll speak about that in a minute, and obviously with tears and heartfelt. There will be, I'm sure here and there, this will come close to home, and there will be real things to, our hearts will break, but also to embrace the season with the spirit of faith and say, Lord, for such a time as this, you've put so much good stuff into us. You've fed us so well by your Spirit through your Word. We've been prepared, and the Bible talks about God's people being willing in a day of His power. We want to believe that it's not simply going to be a negative season, but somehow this will become a day of God's power, and there'll be a willingness in our hearts. So our posture is one of saying, Lord, what are you doing here? We're going to seek your face. We don't want to be spiritually dull. And just kind of afraid and anxious. We're wanting to be able to step back and look at the bigger picture. So it's very important. That's number 4. Number 5, we want to make sure that we are a people of comfort. God is the God of all comfort, and He comforts us in our affliction so that we can, from the comfort we've received from Him, comfort others. So we're looking to comfort those among us who are struggling. It may be that you have loved ones who have fallen foul of this condition. It may be that you yourself are just struggling with anxiety and fear, and you need comfort right now. We want to be a people of comfort, people that share the comfort of God. That not just nice words, but comfort. That word, comfort, fortification, strength. That we strengthen one another with the truth of God. We want to really be that. We want to be aware that this kind of situation affects different people in different ways, and look to be as reassuring and comforting as possible. And then finally, we want to remember the poor. We want to do really, really well. Throughout the history, the church has done so well in these kinds of seasons where very many other people sometimes fall into self-preservation and selfishness and just making sure they're all right, that we don't do that we allow the Lord to enlarge our heart for this season, that we do well, that the church demonstrates God's heart for the poor, whether that's the elderly, whether that is those who are resource poor. There's some serious challenges ahead for self-employed brothers and sisters, for those on 0-hour contracts, those who struggle to make ends meet, as it is those who don't have lots of savings and the like. We want to remember the poor, and I just feel it's an opportunity for God to do a really deep and radical work in our hearts, where we say, yeah, let's allow this season to really demonstrate what we're made of, who we are, that we are the people of God, that we are born from above, that we live from heaven into earth. We don't live from earth. We're seated with Christ. We live from heaven, and from that place serve and, like Jesus, roll our sleeves up and get involved. And so that's the summary of where we're at the moment. All planned gatherings are cancelled, whether that's GC, whether that's enough on Friday night that was planned, whether that's the Shepherd course that you're going to be part of this Saturday, whether that's Sunday morning. They're not happening. Okay. And our philosophical response, that the things that our principled guidelines in this season, as we submit to the government's own guidelines, that we partner well with those that we are partnered well with, and honour their wishes, that we use technology, maximise it, not to give up meetings with one another, that we are looking for, Lord, what are you doing here, that we're being discerning and having a posture of faith in this season, that we are those who bring comfort and reassurance, and that we remember the poor. Those are the guiding principles. We will continue to just push out information and things that come through. But like I say, we'll be looking to establish a rhythm as a church, a rhythm of input, encouragement, interaction, and if you know of those who are going to struggle to engage through lack of technological resources or confidence, it's important that you let us know so that we can help and serve them. We want to help and serve everyone who wants to engage in this season. So please do let us know, so we can begin to find out if there's any spare laptops around, or if someone just needs a bit of extra knowledge to know how to connect in. But we want to look back on this season, because there's something about this season, and it will pass. It will pass. It won't last forever. And we want to look back and say, hey, we saw God do extraordinary things in an extraordinary season. And so let's not let our heads go down. Let's keep a big picture, a big view of God. Let's keep close to the Lord. Let's let our roots go down and our fruit come up. And we'll stay in close contact. We love you all. And we're all in this together. And we are confident that absolutely everything works together for the good, for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Amen. Lots of love. See you guys.